What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so last night were the final two games of the play-in tournament, and the first game involved the Atlanta Hawks and the Miami Heat. Now, the Atlanta Hawks, I believe they lost to the Orlando Magic for the rights to the 7th seed in Orlando earlier this week. And as a result of that, Orlando will face the second-seeded Boston Celtics. And even though Atlanta lost, they still had another chance to make the postseason by playing the winner of last week's matchup between the Chicago Bulls and the Miami Heat. Miami was the 10th seed, Chicago the 9th seed. Chicago got their ass whooped, even though I thought that Chicago was going to be able to beat them, or at least I hope they would have beaten them. But once again, Billy Donovan and the Chicago Bulls are chumps in the postseason, predictable, and got their ass whooped. And Miami, without Jimmy Butler, faced the Atlanta Hawks. And I told you yesterday that I thought that Miami was going to beat Atlanta because Trae Young is not a leader. Atlanta are just choke artists. You know, Trae Young only is known for that one goddamn 2021 playoff run. Other than that, he's been a perennial choker. He puts up numbers, even though he's not efficient, but that's enough for some people. And last night, although the game was very tight, Trae Young tied the game in regulation, 106 all, but ultimately fate prevailed, and Miami were able to come away with, I believe it was a 120-116 victory. I think that's around the final score.
He's been the man in overtime. Shot clock down to 4. Mitchell, step back. Off the rim. Mitchell gets in there and saves it. Davion Mitchell continues to crush the Hawks. Hero ball fake. Shot clock winding down. Mitchell, jumper. Oh, yeah! 123 to 114.
Oh, well, I was wrong. I believe Miami scored 123. Atlanta had either 114 or 116. Matter of fact, let me see. Final score of the game was, 123, 114. And with that, the Miami Heat earned a trip to the NBA playoffs where they will face the number one seeded Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round of the playoffs. Of course, a best of 7 series. And Miami made history last night. They became the first 10th seed to earn a playoff berth since the advent of this new play-in format. And they became the first team in the play-in tournament era to win 2 road games in this play-in format. So salute to them. Miami, of course, was led by Tyler Hero, who had 30 points on 10-21 shooting, 5 of 10 from three-point range. Bam Adebayo had 17 points, 11 rebounds. Andrew Wiggins, who, of course, came over in the trade for Jimmy Butler. A great game, 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. Davion Mitchell, who you saw in the highlight, had how many points did Davion Mitchell have? It was like, I think it was 15, 14. Davion Mitchell had about 15 points, I think it was. 5 of 13 shooting, 4 of 9 from three-point range, and 5 assists in the game. And Onyeka Okongwu, I fucked his name up, didn't I? Onyeka Okongwu, I hope I pronounced that correctly, had 28 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 steals in the game. And Yang had 20 points in the contest. Trae Young had 29 points, only on 9 of 22 shooting, 4 of 9 from three-point range, 7 of 8 from the line, 4 turnovers. Did have 11 assists. If you're looking at that highlight I showed you, they say that Trae Young was backing off, right? But no, that's Trae Young playing or or what you I'm using that word very, very loosely, playing defense. That's just him. He is a complete and total liability on defense, man. Look, Steph Curry isn't noted for his defense as like a strength, but he's definitely worked on that defense in the last half of his career to the point where he's at least decent. You know what I'm saying? He gives effort. That's all you can ask for is effort. Trae Young only gives effort on one side of the floor. And you can't win with a guy like that. Not starting and not being a superstar, if you want to call him that. That's atrocious playing that type of defense in the NBA. You're not going to win. So Atlanta Hawks have tried to build a team around him to compensate for his lack of defensive prowess. But man, that's you can't be an NBA starter and play on the defensive end that poorly. And they never call its crap out. They never call it out with Trae Young. And by they, I mean the mainstream sports media. They never call it out. But they'll call out Russell Westbrook for not being a good shooter. But at least Russ gives goddamn effort. He gives effort. This guy doesn't give any effort, man. So I'm sorry, man. It's time to trade this dude, man. It's done. It's been long overdue, man. They had that one little run 4 years ago, and that's it. That's it. You know. So congratulations to the Miami Heat, and this shows that it ain't just one guy with Miami. Although I don't think Miami has a hell of a shot at beating Cleveland. This shows that you know Miami culture does exist, and Eric Spoelstra has turned into a Hall of Fame caliber coach. Man, he's a very, very good coach. Considering he doesn't have a superstar on his squad, considering that he hasn't really had, in my opinion, a bona fide superstar on his roster since D Wade and Chris Bosh retired or left. I think he's done great, man. To have two final appearances against teams that very, very overmatched as far as talent is concerned, and. But anyway, congratulations to the Miami Heat. Tell what you guys think.